Pakistan is fighting a crisis on three fronts, battling terrorism, rescuing its economy, and adapting to climate change. We begin with the toll that terror is taking on its people in a country that ranks second place on the Global Terrorism Index, where attacks have become a part of daily life.
Around 260 kilometers away from Pakistan's capital of Islamabad is the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. This region borders Afghanistan and, along with the Balochistan province in the south, accounted for 96% of all terror attacks and deaths in Pakistan last year. 11-year-old Faizan Laikzada joined his uncle and other relatives as they pray for his father, who was killed in a suicide bomb attack in May.
मुझे ये फ़ख्र हुआ कि मेरी बाबा को अल्लाह ताला ने शहादत की मर्ग दी मैं खुश हूँ
Faizan's father, Laikzada Khan, was a junior police officer for 15 years. He leaves behind 3 children. The children's uncle, Hazrat Bilal, is now supporting the family and looking out for them.
हम वैसे इन पर कड़ी निगरानी करते हैं, स्कूल जाते वक्त भी और आते भी वक्त.
This isn't the first time the family has lost a member to a terror attack. In 2009, Hazrat Bilal's father, also a police officer, was killed in a suicide blast. Hazrat is a police constable himself. He says his uniform is a constant reminder that people like him, his father, and brother bear the brunt of daily violence and attacks, without the means and tools to properly defend themselves.
हमारे साथ मुकम्मल हथियार होना चाहिए. हम जब लड़ रहे हैं तो हम किस चीज़ पर, पुरानी बंदूक है, SMG है, उस पर हम लड़ें. यार उन लोग वो जो है वो तो चल भी नहीं सकते. नए हथियार होना चाहिए हमारे फोर्स के लिए, और जदीद जो है ना ये कैमरे और जदीद टेक्नोलॉजी इनके लिए जो है ना ये होना चाहिए, ताकि इनका जो है ना ये नापाक लोगों की जो आज़म है वो हम जो है ना वो रास्ते में है जो है ना उनको ख़त्म करें.
The lack of modern weaponry remains a long-standing issue for the police in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Officers say terrorists now equipped with advanced arms are difficult to counter.
Peshawar and its surrounding regions in the north of the country have long been the epicenter of Pakistan's battle against militant organizations. Experts say the region's proximity to the Afghanistan border and its mountainous terrain allow terror groups to continue to operate freely here.
(2024) was the deadliest year for Pakistani civilians and security forces in a decade, according to the Center for Research and Security Studies. On average, 7 lives were lost daily. Psychologist Dr. Rusham Zahra Rana is counseling a survivor of a bomb blast in 2015. Like many survivors, he bears the physical and mental scars of his narrow escape.
People who are experiencing trauma on a day-to-day and it goes untreated would start to recluse, start to stay indoors, not go out as much, would start to not go into society. Basically, their basic functioning, meaning being able to work, being able to eat, being able to sleep, being able to breathe even, are affected.
After the withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan in 2021 and the Taliban's return to power, Pakistan has seen a surge in cross-border terrorism, especially from attacks by the Pakistani Taliban, known as Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP. Islamabad blames Kabul for harboring the group, an accusation that the Afghan government denies. This is the most active the TTP has been in nearly 2 decades, according to the Global Terrorism Index. Last year, the group carried out 482 attacks, the highest ever on record. As part of a crackdown that began in late 2023, Pakistan has been deporting undocumented Afghan nationals in the country. But this year, it began targeting documented Afghan refugees as well. So far, it has pushed out more than 1 million Afghans across the border. More than 230,000 Afghans have been expelled this year alone. Many of these Afghans had sought refuge in Pakistan after the Taliban's return to power, while others have lived in the country since the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. Like Abdul Rab Hamza's family, the 20-year-old was born in Pakistan and says this is the only home he's ever known.
حالات خیلی شکر الحمدلله خو مسئله دغه زمون کار دلته تیار جوړ دی که مونږ هلته لاړ شو نو کار ول پیدا کېږي نه چې جوړو ډېر پکې وخت لګېږي ځکه زمون کار دلته فی الحال جوړ دی او په تسلۍ سره کار کېږي.
Islamabad says the crackdown is aimed at combating terrorism, citing the involvement of some Afghan nationals in militant activities. But experts warn that the mass expulsions could instead play directly into the hands of militant recruiters.
It will become easier for the TTP to recruit these individuals that are going across the border because you see they have nothing to lose.
Down south in Pakistan's largest but poorest province of Balochistan, the Balochistan Liberation Army or BLA has intensified its decades-long insurgency. It was here in Balochistan that militants hijacked a passenger train in March this year, demanding the release of Baloch political prisoners. Officials say more than 300 people were taken hostage and 21 people were killed. While such attacks have prompted calls for tougher military action, analysts caution that force alone cannot fix the problem.
Pakistan's in a very difficult spot because, on the one hand, there's that inclination to think that you need to ramp up kinetic actions, counterterrorism, military operations against these groups. But, that might kill a lot of bad guys and a lot of terrorists, but it doesn't make the broader problem go away.
The broader issues, analysts say, stem from deep political instability, institutional weakness, and the lack of a cohesive national counter-terrorism strategy. Since the ouster of former Prime Minister Imran Khan in 2022 and his arrest in 2023, Pakistan has witnessed ongoing unrest, with his party accusing the government of rigging the 2024 election, a charge authorities deny. This political turmoil, coupled with a fragile economy dependent on support from the International Monetary Fund, has further weakened the state's capacity to confront militant violence. And even as Pakistan fights mounting security challenges at home, it's also facing accusations of fostering terror groups that carry out attacks in neighboring India, a charge Islamabad denies. In May, a military escalation with India brought both nuclear-armed neighbors to the brink until a ceasefire was brokered. And experts say unless steps are taken to address the complexities of Pakistan's security challenges and the underlying social, economic and political issues, the prospect of peace will remain out of reach.
Pakistan is rich in natural resources. It has gold and copper reserves and massive deposits of crude oil and natural gas. It also has deep seas close to its shores that can serve as trading hubs. But despite the enormous potential, Pakistan's economy is in tatters. Here's a look at Pakistan's precarious financial position and how it's trying to turn things around.
Ehsan Gorsi lost his nephew Sufyan Ali 6 months ago to the sea. Sufyan was one of 45 people who drowned in January when the boat they were on capsized off the coast of Morocco.
तो मैं उसे कहता था कि यूरोप में क्या है, आप यहाँ पर भी काम कर लो, आप किसी और वो कहता था मामू हमने तो ज़िंदगी कैसे कैसे करके भी यानी कि गुजार ली और गुजार लेंगे, हमारे बच्चों का मुस्तकबिल नहीं है.
Sufyan is one among thousands of Pakistanis who attempt to migrate every year. Experts say political instability, economic stress, terrorism, and inflation are key factors driving them away.
Many of these young people see others who have done well in 4 to 5 years of their escape from Pakistan. They have built their houses, they have bought cars, and so that sort of trigger an action, or that inspire them to actually follow the same route.
As of April this year, 2,111 Pakistanis traveled to Libya or Egypt, a common gateway to Europe, according to the EU's border agency Frontex. It's more than double the number from the first 4 months of last year. Still, it's a fraction of the record highs of 2023, attributed in part to an intensified crackdown on human smuggling networks. In trying to address root economic causes, Pakistan wants more foreign investments in sectors with high potential like minerals. Much hope lies in developing the Rekordek mine in the southwestern province of Balochistan, jointly owned by Pakistan and Canada's Barrick Gold. It's one of the world's largest deposits of copper and gold.
Gold is a very big driver of investment, and in that respect, the resources at Rekordek are significant, and they certainly have the potential to generate significant revenues for Pakistan.
Above ground, Islamabad is also looking to China and Saudi Arabia to invest in high-growth sectors of the future. China's ADM Group is pouring $350 million into Pakistan's electric vehicle sector, with plans to set up a plant and install 3,000 charging stations nationwide.
Definitely, they know our market is big, even a human capital, the number of people. So there would be an employment, lots of employment will be created, and a very healthy competition, I must say, in the car industry specifically.
And Saudi fast food giant Al-Baik is preparing to launch in Pakistan in its first expansion beyond the Gulf.
This is work in progress. Not only will you see Saudi investment, you will see investment from UAE, you will see investment from Central Asian countries and from other countries.
But observers say foreign direct investment will only flow into Pakistan if it is more stable and business friendly.
Foreign investors are not isolated from domestic investors. You see, if they see that, okay, our domestic investors or domestic savers are parking their capital outside the country, then it's not a great signal for international investors to come in and seek opportunities in the business.
But the domestic landscape is bumpy, in part from uncertainty over US tariffs. At this factory in Faistabad, CEO Kashif Zia Farmer says orders are down 40% over concerns about additional US tariffs of 29%.
Until unless ये decide ना हो कि कितनी ड्यूटी टैक्सेस फाइनल होंगे तो वो हमें कोई भी ऑर्डर्स प्लेस नहीं करेंगे और अल्टरनेटिव हमें दूसरी मार्केट्स में जाना है हम यूरोपियन मार्केट्स में भी दे रहे हैं अफ्रीकन मार्केट्स के ऊपर भी रिलाई कर रहे हैं लेकिन हमारी ज़्यादा डिपेंडेंसी जो है वो यूएस मार्केट के ऊपर थी.
Around 80% of Pakistan's exports to the US were textile and apparel products from factories like this. It's why Trump's tariffs have businesses here worried.
As compromise to stabilize trade relations, Islamabad plans to import more US oil, cotton and soybean.
The US is a very important market for Pakistan, and we really, we feel that this relationship has a lot of strength, and it can, it has a long way to go.
Domestically, Pakistan also grapples with high electricity costs from inefficiencies in the energy infrastructure and expensive fuel imports. And there's the corruption.
I would say corruption is endemic, and it is unfortunately has become a part of our overall governance system, social transactions, economic transactions, our dealing with the government has a lot of interfaces where we experience corrupt practices at all levels, whether lower level or at a very high level.
Security issues have also kept investors at bay even after the investment has already been made. This is the Gwadar port in the southwest of Pakistan. A flagship in China's Belt and Road Initiative, it was meant to create more than 1 million jobs and billions of dollars in revenues for Pakistan. But today, both the deep sea port and airport have limited shipping and flight activity. Separatists accuse Islamabad of exploiting the province's resources.
Balochistan is infested with terrorism, with violence, and some of the violence has affected our Chinese friends. There have been attacks on Chinese citizens working on projects of CPEC.
High debt, inflation, and a weak currency is also plaguing Pakistan's economy. The International Monetary Fund has extended a lifeline with a $7 billion multi-year loan. But analysts warn it's just a temporary fix.
Economic activity has to go up. The enterprise creation has to go up. Job creation has to happen. Productivity, skills development has to happen. So if we don't invest in these dimensions of the economy, then I'm afraid that simple IMF program is not going to be sufficient for economic recovery.
Experts here and abroad agree on this. No amount of external money can fix Pakistan's internal troubles if the fundamentals don't work.
Already facing economic and security turmoil, Pakistan also finds itself on the front lines of a climate crisis. Extreme weather driven by global warming is intensifying faster than systems can adapt. Scientists warn of recurring glacial floods and severe heat waves, while officials here are racing to strengthen early warning systems and rethink urban planning.
It's been another brutal summer for millions of Pakistani citizens. One of the worst hit regions is the eastern province of Punjab, where informal workers like Dilawar Ali have little choice but to brave the stifling heat.
हमारा जो टाइम टेबल है इधर उस टाइम अक्सर धूप ही होती है, गर्मी होती है बहुत ज़्यादा.
Last summer, thousands of people in Pakistan were treated for heat stroke symptoms. More than 560 people died, although the real toll is widely believed to be much higher due to the lack of accurate official data on heatwave-related deaths. Temperatures this year have already hit as high as 7 degrees above normal, touching 50 degrees Celsius in some parts of Pakistan. With heat waves growing more intense and frequent, experts say the high temperatures are not just a seasonal anomaly.
What makes millions of Pakistanis particularly vulnerable is the fact that 40% of the country's population is poor, which means they are disproportionately impacted by climate change.
The hot, dry weather is also cutting down food production. Large parts of Pakistan are grappling with drought, impacting livelihoods and worsening food insecurity.
50% नुकसान हुआ है और उसकी मेन जो वजह है वो खुशहाली है.
Farmer Chaudhry Tayyib Sultan is now preparing his fields for the next round of sowing. But he's worried a delayed monsoon after this intense heat could ruin the next crop cycle.
अब मौसम की तब्दीली की वजह से फसल की प्रोडक्शन में बहुत कमी है और जो छोटे मोटे ज़मींदार हैं उनके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम है. कोई खातर खा हमारे पास कोई नहरें नहीं है, दरिया का पानी नहीं है.
The eastern province of Punjab, the nation's food basket, has been hit hard. And as farming becomes unsustainable, more and more people are migrating to cities. It's put more pressure on these urban areas to expand rapidly and haphazardly.
We have deforested most of our areas. Our urban planning does not have the consideration of these heat islands that we have actually produced in the urban areas.
Intense rainfall and floods are becoming increasingly frequent as well. Scientists attribute this to glacial melts and less predictable monsoons caused by global warming. The most recent 2022 superflood submerged a third of the country, affected more than 30 million people, and cost $40 billion in damages. To better prepare for extreme weather events, the National Disaster Management Authority in Islamabad uses nearly 300 climate sensors to track rain and heat patterns. The system enables them to issue early warnings to provincial governments.
We are now well equipped in terms of providing the accurate forecast and also the impact-based analysis of any imminent threat that is likely to unfold 6 months prior, anywhere in Pakistan.
For now, as part of the heat action plan this summer, officials have set up hundreds of mobile centers like this one in Islamabad at busy intersections.
ठंडा पानी पिलाया जाता है, इसके अलावा ओआरएस के साथ मिला हुआ पानी पिलाया जाता है। इसके अलावा हमारी अवेयरनेस कैंपेन भी जो हैं वो इंस्टीट्यूशंस में भी और जनरल पब्लिक में भी और यूनियन काउंसिल लेवल पे साथ साथ चल रही हैं ताकि लोगों को अवेयर किया जाए कि हीट वेव के साथ किस तरह कॉम्बैट करना है और हीट वेव से नुकसान कम से कम हो लोगों को।
Pakistan is also getting help from China. This desalination plant in Gwadar is being developed under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project. It's already semi-operational, providing desalinated water to the Gwadar Free Trade Zone. But while solutions like this offer some relief, the broader climate outlook remains grim. By 2050, average temperatures in Pakistan are projected to rise by an additional 1.3 degrees Celsius to 1.5 degrees Celsius. While severe flooding is projected to affect 5 million more people, with extreme river floods likely between 2035 and 2044. For Pakistan, already among the top 10 most climate vulnerable countries, this is further evidence that the climate threat to human survival is becoming increasingly severe.